The first sound Alyssa heard that night wasn't a knock at the door or a creak in the hallway. It was music, quiet at first, just loud enough to pull an 8-year-old girl away from her toys and make her wonder who could possibly be in her bedroom. Within moments, that harmless curiosity turned into fear when a voice came through a camera that was supposed to protect her. A complete stranger wasn't outside her home. He was already inside it. By the winter of 2019, home security cameras had become a normal part of everyday life. Families across America installed devices like Ring cameras to watch over their homes, receive alerts when someone approached the front door, and check in on loved ones while they were away. For many parents, they offered reassurance. A quick glance at a phone screen was all it took to know everything was safe. That was exactly why the Lame family in Memphis, Tennessee decided to install their system. Like countless other parents, they wanted an extra layer of security. Cameras were placed around the house so they could keep an eye on their daughters while they played. It seemed like a practical decision, one that would help protect the people they loved most. But only a few days after the cameras were installed, someone else gained access. The family had no idea that a stranger had managed to break into their security system. There were no smashed windows, no damaged locks, and no warning signs that anyone had entered their home. Instead, the intruder slipped in through an internet connection, quietly taking control of the very device that was meant to keep watch. No one knows exactly when it happened. No one knows how long that person had been watching. That uncertainty is one of the most disturbing parts of the story. Whoever hacked the system didn't have to announce themselves. They could have silently observed the family's routines, listened to conversations, and watched ordinary moments unfold without anyone ever suspecting they weren't alone. On a cold December evening, Alyssa was upstairs in her bedroom. The house felt calm. She was surrounded by her toys, completely unaware that someone she had never met could see everything she was doing. Then the music started. She looked around the room, puzzled. Nothing seemed out of place. The walls were still. The windows were closed. She searched among her toys, wondering if one of them had somehow turned itself on. The room remained silent for a heartbeat. Then something far more unsettling happened. Alyssa's eyes slowly moved toward the Ring camera mounted high in the corner of her bedroom. It was something she had seen every day since it had been installed, and she had never given it much thought. To her, it was just another part of the room. Then she noticed the small blue light. It was blinking. She hesitated, trying to understand what she was seeing. Before she could make sense of it, a man's voice suddenly echoed through the camera's speaker. "Hello there." The words were calm, almost cheerful, but they froze the room. Alyssa gasped and spun around, convinced that someone had somehow walked into the house. She searched behind furniture, looked toward the bedroom door, and even picked up her toys, believing one of them must have been making the sound. Nothing. The voice hadn't come from a toy. It had come from the camera. Confused and frightened, Alyssa stared toward it, trying to understand how it could possibly be talking to her. For a brief moment, there was only silence. Then the stranger spoke again, but this time the friendly tone disappeared. Without warning, he began shouting a racial slur at the little girl over and over again. His voice grew louder and more aggressive with every word. Alyssa instinctively backed away, unable to understand why a stranger was yelling at her. Her breathing became quick and uneven as panic replaced confusion. "What? I can't hear you. I can't hear you," she cried, hoping the frightening voice would stop. Instead, the man continued speaking. He ordered her to go and get her mother, repeating the same hateful language while demanding that she repeat it back to him. The requests made no sense to Alyssa. She was only 8 years old, standing alone in a bedroom that had suddenly become the last place she wanted to be. Gathering enough courage to speak, she asked the only question that mattered. "Who are you?" The answer came immediately. "I'm your best friend. I'm Santa Claus." The words sounded almost playful, but there was something deeply unsettling about them. The stranger kept repeating the claim, insisting that he was Santa Claus and asking if she wanted to be his best friend. For a child, it was confusing. For anyone listening, it was chilling. A security camera that had been installed to watch over Alyssa had become a direct line between an anonymous hacker and a terrified little girl, and the encounter was only becoming more disturbing. The stranger refused to let the conversation end. Each time Alyssa hesitated, the voice returned through the speaker with the same unnerving confidence, as though he truly believed he belonged in that room. He continued insisting that he was her best friend, repeating that he was Santa Claus, twisting something familiar and comforting into something frightening. Every sentence carried an unsettling calm that made the encounter feel even more disturbing. Alyssa stood frozen, her eyes fixed on the camera. The blinking blue light no longer looked like a harmless indicator. It was a reminder that someone she couldn't see was looking directly at her. Then the hacker changed his approach. Instead of asking questions, he began encouraging her to do things. "You can do whatever you want right now," he said. "You can mess up your room. You can break your TV. You can do whatever you want." To an adult, the words sounded manipulative. To a frightened 8-year-old, they were deeply confusing. Why would a stranger tell her to destroy her own room? Why did he seem so determined to convince her that there would be no consequences? Fortunately, Alyssa never listened. Her confusion quickly turned into fear. Rather than doing what the stranger suggested, she wanted only one thing: to find her mother. The house that had felt warm and familiar only minutes earlier suddenly seemed filled with invisible danger. There was no intruder hiding behind a curtain or standing outside the bedroom door. The threat was somewhere she couldn't see, speaking through a device her family had trusted. That realization is what makes this case so unsettling. The hacker didn't need to force his way into the home. He never stepped across the front porch or broke a window. Yet he was able to invade one of the most private spaces in the house, a child's bedroom, and speak directly to her as though he were standing only a few feet away. When the Lame family learned what had happened, the sense of security they had placed in their new camera system disappeared almost instantly. The device they had installed to protect their daughters had become the very tool a stranger used to terrorize one of them. Even more disturbing was the question no one could answer. If the hacker had chosen to remain silent instead of speaking that night, how long had he already been watching? That single unanswered question continues to haunt the story. The family knew when they discovered the hacker's voice. They knew when Alyssa heard the music, when the camera's blue light began blinking, and when a stranger started talking to their daughter. But they could never determine when the intrusion had actually begun. It may have been hours earlier. It may have been days. Or it may have started the very moment the cameras were connected to the internet. That uncertainty transformed an already frightening incident into something far more unsettling. Every ordinary moment suddenly became a possible memory of being watched. Family conversations, children playing, quiet evenings at home. None of it felt private anymore. The thought that an anonymous stranger could have silently observed those moments without revealing himself was almost impossible to accept. The Lame family had purchased the Ring system for the same reason millions of other families had. They wanted peace of mind. They believed the cameras would discourage intruders and help keep their daughters safe. Instead, the technology they trusted became the very path an intruder used to enter their lives. Unlike a traditional burglary, there were no fingerprints to dust for, no footprints in the snow, and no damaged locks to repair. The evidence existed only as a digital trail left by someone hiding behind a computer screen, someone whose face Alyssa would never see. That anonymity made the experience even more disturbing. A child can eventually understand why someone breaks into a house looking for valuables. But how do you explain to an 8-year-old why a stranger would secretly watch her, speak to her through a camera, pretend to be Santa Claus, shout abuse, and encourage her to damage her own room? There was no logical explanation that could erase the fear she felt that night. As news of the incident spread, it became one of the most widely discussed examples of how vulnerable connected devices could be when they fell into the wrong hands. For many people, the footage shattered the comforting belief that a security camera automatically made a home safer. Sometimes the greatest danger isn't standing outside your front door. Sometimes it's already looking through a lens inside your home, waiting for the moment it decides to let you know it's there. And for the Lame family, that realization would forever change the way they looked at the technology they had once trusted without question. For Alyssa, the terrifying encounter eventually came to an end. The voice stopped. The music faded. The room fell silent once again. But the silence didn't bring comfort. It only left behind questions that no one in the house could answer. When the family realized what had happened, their priority was protecting their daughters. The system that had been installed to give them reassurance had instead exposed one of the most vulnerable moments of their lives. The thought that a stranger had been able to watch and speak directly to an 8-year-old child was almost impossible to process. What made the incident especially disturbing wasn't just what the hacker said. It was what he could have chosen not to say. If he had never spoken through the camera, the family might never have realized anyone had gained access. They would have continued living their lives, believing their home was secure, while an unseen stranger potentially observed them from the other side of a screen. That possibility has remained one of the darkest aspects of the entire case. The footage quickly spread across the internet and became a chilling reminder that modern technology can sometimes create new vulnerabilities alongside new conveniences. Devices designed to protect families are only as secure as the systems behind them, and when those protections fail, the consequences can become deeply personal. Even years later, people continue to return to this case because it feels so frighteningly real. There are no ghosts hiding in the shadows, no mysterious creature lurking outside a window, no supernatural explanation waiting to be uncovered. Instead, the horror comes from something far more believable. A child was alone in her bedroom on an ordinary December night. She heard music she couldn't explain. She noticed a blinking blue light. Then a stranger, hidden somewhere far away, spoke to her through a camera that had been placed there by the people who loved her most. The events unfolded exactly as they happened, making them all the more unsettling. A family sought peace of mind through home security, only to discover that the greatest threat had entered without ever opening a door. And perhaps the most unsettling thought of all is this: somewhere, behind an anonymous screen, the person responsible simply disconnected and disappeared, leaving behind a frightened little girl, a shaken family, and a question that still has no answer. How many other cameras have been watched in complete silence, with the families on the other side never knowing someone was there at all?